Hey, what's up, guys? Just had a fun experience of anger. And we're going to talk about anger and why it's okay to be angry. I just finished going to a men's retreat, a nice 48-hour Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend men's retreat where we really got, deep into different, emotional aspects of ourselves and being seen, being vulnerable, pushing those boundaries of our comfort zone. And my practice there was to step up, hold space, take space. And one of the key lessons, a little bit off track, but bear with me, one of my key lessons there was when it's my turn, it's my turn, as long as I give other people the sacredness of their turn. So we had a lot of circles where we would step into the middle and, be seen by the group in whatever we were doing or sharing. And the scariest thing for me was we did freestyling. And so I stepped into the middle just to freestyle someone, playing a beat on like the drums and stuff. And you just gotta just spit, man, whatever's coming to you. And that was terrible. I was just like, oh God, I was terrible. It was miserable, but I did it, and I feel so good that I did it. And what really got me to go in was I'd rather kick myself for sucking than to kick myself for not trying. So I stepped up. And that was kind of my goal, was to take space, to step up, to hold, to really just to take my turn. And so, and to not feel guilty about it. I always feel guilty taking my turn. And luckily, by chance, I was able to take my turn in the Rage Temple. So we did a lot of different workshops there. And one of them was the Rage Temple. You have pillows and pads, and there's a circle around it, 20 men, and we're all there. And the facilitator's giving a little talk about emotions, about anger, about holding our anger as men and being with that anger in in a positive way. And here we are in this space where we're allowed to be with that anger. We're allowed to express that anger, and we're also knowing that anger is ours. It's no one's making us angry. That's our anger. And everybody knows that when you're expressing your anger, it has nothing to do with them. Maybe you'll take it personally, but we're in such a safe space that it's so much easier, and we're all together in it. So it's really beautiful. So I was, I felt this big charge of a no, huge no. And he just asked, does anybody here feeling a charge right now after he finished explaining anger and emotions and safety and men and all that? And I was like, wow, I don't know what this is. I haven't felt angry, but here's this big no. And so I raised my hand, and he's like, oh, what are you feeling? Because it just helps to label it sometimes, but I didn't have a label. It was just a big no that wanted to shout. So I expressed it. I have this no. It's just right in my chest. And I was like, no! I don't know what it is, but it's there. And then, then a bunch of other men also expressed what their charge was. And after that, for whatever reason, facilitator said, hey, Michael, would you like to step into the middle here, into the Rage Temple? And I was like, my first thought was, no, thank you. I don't want everyone to see me look like that, and it's bad to express my anger. I was always punished for doing that. So, but very quickly, I went and allowed myself to step in there, to really just to do it, and it was beautiful. I was like, the first thing I do is you make eyes with everyone. Really take in where you are. Take in that everybody is looking at you, and as I was doing that, I wanted to tell everybody, what the F are you looking at? And then after that, I just wanted to curse everyone out. I don't know why. And I just went to each person. I was like, F you, F you, F you, F you, F you. I just went around the circle and just cursed each one out. And then after that, it was more inner journey. I was like going back to when I was 6 years old and feeling all this anger. And then boom, I just started bawling my eyes out, sobbing, that snot dripping down my face. And it's like I just collapsed on the floor. And then like Harry, the facilitator, was like, hey Mike, you gotta make eyes. We can't just collapse here. Let's make eyes with people. See how they see you. See that they're seeing you. And I make the first eye contact, and this guy's just crying. His eyes are red, and he's just staring at me with all of his heart, all of his compassion, all of this empathy, all of this, shared experience. And it's just like I couldn't hold the eye contact. I looked up, and I had to look down. I couldn't handle it. But then I looked back up again. I was like, wow, okay. And I just went around the circle looking at everyone. So many tears. People were there with me, seeing me, holding me, carrying it with me. And it was beautiful and healing. And then I had more rage, and I collapsed again into like 6-year-old Mike, who just wanted to be like loved by his parents in a way that they weren't giving. And then the whole group just came and gave me a huge hug, and it was beautiful. And like I just cried, I pushed them away, I felt like I didn't deserve it. And then like at some point I just had this thing that just said like, I was able to process a lot of sadness. I was starting to open up again, and I just said like, I love you, Dad. And then everyone were saying these phrases like, I'm so proud of you, you're I'm here for you, Mike, and just like saying nice dad things. And it was and man, my heart's just melting right now, remembering it and thinking about it. It was all so recent. So anyway, my phone's about to die. I'm going to continue this in my room. Hey, all right. I'm in my room. It's actually a couple days later. I got distracted. And so all of that happened at this men's workshop, weekend workshop, where I really tapped into some rage. There's some, uncovering some childhood trauma, these spaces where I didn't feel the love that I really wanted to in certain times. And it was just like, feeling the sadness, that disappointment, the guilt, all of these different things. And then amazingly, it's so annoying. I come back, Easter Sunday happens, Monday I'm back in my place after Sunday, spending time with family, didn't really have the space to integrate everything. And I call a really close friend of mine, and the conversation isn't nice, because I'm looking to just be held and to be in just like a loving connection while I'm like in this really tender space. And unfortunately, at the same time, she was in a very tender space and wanting to be held as well. And I asked for holding first, and it felt unacknowledged. And then she kind of directly went into asking for holding without acknowledging my need for holding. And then there was this whole little cycle. And I can talk about that in a different video about communication patterns and things. But it just, we eventually were able to come back to each other with love, and we were able to kind of support each other in the ways that we were asking for. But I left that conversation. I felt good, but then after the call ended, I felt unresolved. I was like, oh, you know what? There was this and this, and I wish I had mentioned those things, and I'm really disappointed in the way my friend handled that conversation. Part of me expects better of them, to be able to hold that space and to be with people with their needs, even when they have their own. And I feel like I don't ask that much. And so when I did kind of ask, I was really disappointed that it wasn't there for me in the way that I would have liked. And I didn't realize that sat with me for a while. I went for a walk into the woods, and as I got to the woods, I just realized I had all this anger. I was like, ooh, I'm feeling angry. And I don't normally feel angry. And I think that workshop really kind of opened up that space of anger within me. It granted like okayness and acceptance for that anger that is in me. And I kind of maybe kept it quiet and didn't let myself fully feel it because of The way I was raised was to, you're not allowed to feel anger. You got to push that down. Never show it. It's bad. You're a bad person if you feel angry. And if you show that you are angry. So I still have some of that in me, even though I've done a lot of work around it. But I felt this anger, and I was like, ooh, great. This is great. I feel angry. And I didn't analyze. I didn't ask why. I didn't go back to the conversation. I just felt that anger in me. Felt it in my chest and flowing through my arms. There's a little heat running through the body. And I get to these trees. There's these really big trees. And I say, hey, guys, can I unleash my anger on you? Can you hold that for me? And I received a yes from them. I pick up some sticks and I just start banging them on the tree. I just grab a stick and swah, swah, swah until they break. I pick up another stick, break it, break it, break it. Another stick, break it, break it, break it. 15 minutes of just bashing on these trees. And then I'd always take these moments of putting my hand on the tree and be like, I'm so sorry, thank you. But they're very big, thick trunks, and they weren't, it was nothing to them. So just like that, we're allowed to feel angry. If you feel angry, allow yourself to feel it. Don't push it down. Don't push it away. Don't judge it as best you can. It's there for a reason. The anger is telling me that something wasn't okay. And, let me acknowledge that. Let me acknowledge that conversation and the way this person handled it was not okay for me. And so I can then bring that up after I let that anger have its path, and I can let it process within me. And then I can come to this person. I don't need to blame them. It's not their fault I'm angry, but my needs weren't met. And that's not their responsibility, but I can ask them. I can bring it up. I said to them, hey, I was really angry after that phone call. I felt like these needs of mine weren't acknowledged and weren't met. And I really have, high expectations in this relationship where we're able to meet each other's needs, especially when we ask for them. And then, she acknowledged that, she apologized for the way that conversation went and everything. But I went into that conversation partially because I felt the anger and I let it flow through me. And sometimes anger is this really red hot fire, and it requires, a good yell, some good physical, energetic release. As long as we do it in I would say level-headed kind of way, where we're not hurting ourselves, we're not hurting other people, we're not, throwing our lamps on the floor, or throwing the remote at the TV, or breaking dishes or things like that, or yelling at a person. But we can acknowledge and take responsibility for the anger in ourselves. And then once it processes, we can tell the people around us what we need and hope that they are able to provide it. So feel your anger. It's okay to be angry. Love you, and have a wonderful week.